and admitting now. This Court of Common Pleas Civil Division is now declared open. The Honorable Ann M. Butchart presiding. This is a public hearing live stream via YouTube and can be accessed on the court's website. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. I'm Judge Ann Butchart, and I'm presiding today over the initial hearing in a matter filed under Act 135. This is Fairmount CDC, that's Community Development Corporation, as petitioner versus Charles Williams, the respondent. This is our docket 2208-02105. The subject property is 1332 North Hollywood Street in Philadelphia. The zip is 19121. I'm going to ask everyone who's present to please put their name on the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Samuel Ritterman, attorney for petitioner.
Good morning. Mr. Sherlock, could you identify yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Patrick Sherlock. I'm the Executive Director of Fairmount Community Development Corporation.
Thank you. There was an individual identified as Raha, who's no longer on the screen. Is that individual known to either Mr. Sherlock or Mr. Ritterman?
That's my partner's name. This is her computer, which I'm using, so I changed the name. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. That's why we ask. This is a public hearing, so it would not surprise me if other people showed up.
Right.
Mr. Ritterman, could you give an opening statement and particularly advise the court where you are in terms of notice?
Yes, Your Honor. May it please the court. I, of course, have filed a petition pursuant to Act 135. As this is a blighted and abandoned property, we intend to prove that to the court at an evidentiary hearing that we request at the earliest possible date, consistent with the court and council schedule. In terms of service, what I have, Your Honor, and perhaps you would like me to share screen on this, so we're looking at it together.
I'd very much appreciate that. And at some point, I'd also like to see any photographs that you have of the property. I think we're going to be asking for those in our initial hearings because I think it goes a long way toward establishing what's going on.
I agree, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing, and I am. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to just, forgive me, Your Honor, I just don't want to inadvertently have on the screen things that pertain to other matters. Okay, here we go. I am now going to share my screen. All right, so what I'd like to present for the court for purpose of this hearing as Exhibit P1, please, is an affidavit of personal service indicating that on August 20th, 2022, the person serving it from Rapid Delivery Service posted the notice of a filing of petition for appointment of conservator at the subject property of 1332 North Hollywood Street in Philadelphia. That is one piece of the service. The next piece, Your Honor, which I will mark as Exhibit P2 for purposes of this hearing, and I'm going to write down what I'm marking so we're on the same page. This is an indication of actual personal service at the last known address of the owner of the property, Charles Williams, who resides at 2527 West Thompson Street in Philadelphia. And it's an affidavit of personal service also signed by Rapid Delivery Service, indicating that on August 20th, 2022, they effectuated service at that property. The server indicates that he personally served the defendant's fellow church member who insisted on taking service on defendant's behalf at the defendant's home. This was a Mr. Edwin Hobbs, and a description is given of Mr. Hobbs, and it then states that Mr. Hobbs was handed the subpoena notice of filing of petition for appointment of a conservator. this is, of course, the court's order. So that's where we are with service, Your Honor. And I haven't heard anything from the respondent. I haven't noted any entry of appearance of an attorney on respondent's behalf.
Do you have anything from Mr. Kelly? Was there anything else that indicated what the relationship, if it might be, between Mr. Edwin Hobbs and Mr. Charles Williams?
Oh, only the four corners of what I have in this affidavit, to my knowledge, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases the court, shall I move on to the photographs of the property?
That would be fine. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Your Honor. This, Your Honor, generally speaking, marking as P3, is our petition for conservatorship. The petition contained a number of exhibits, some of which I believe included photographs, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and Exhibit H of this petition for conservatorship filed with the court in August, I believe August 17th this year, contains a number of photographs, which I'll mark collectively as exhibit. Well, it's part of the collective exhibit P3. Does Your Honor want me to mark each photo individually for purposes of today?
I think we're just fine. You need not go any further than indicate that the court is looking at Exhibit H on pictures contained in Exhibit H of P3, which is the full petition. That's fine.
Perfect. Thank you, Your Honor. The subject property is this one here with the boarded doors. Here, this is some pictures to begin with. This is a Google image capture from August 2018. So this gives us an idea of property about 4 years ago. The next picture is also from October 2018. The subject property here, again, is the one with the boards on it, indicating boards on windows, basement window, etc. This is an overhead view taken via Google's satellite feature, showing the condition of the roof of the property. It's indicated which property we're looking at by the red marking, and we can see the roof has problems. Those are the photos we have at the moment, Your Honor.
And this third photograph of the roof, you may have said where that came from, but if you wouldn't mind repeating it.
Certainly, Your Honor. Google Maps has a feature where it will allow an overhead view, and that's so Google's satellites have basically provided us with this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to stop sharing the screen for the moment.
All right. That's very helpful.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And in your determination that how did you determine that 2527 North Thompson is the correct address for the respondent, Charles Williams?
Oh, okay. So I will refer back, actually, then, Your Honor, to our petition, which I believe answers that. So I will once again share screen, so we're all seeing the same thing. And referring back to Exhibit P3, which is our petition, I would like to go through our exhibits briefly to show the court how it is we determine this. This is first we looked at the deed, and the deed indicates to whom the property is owned. Who the property is owned by. That, of course, doesn't give their address. It's just giving us who we're looking at. What we do, what we are relying, however, on is.
And that was 1962.
Yes, Your Honor. Which is why. Sorry, Your
Honor. I have an idea.
Great, Your Honor.
It's not necessary for you at this stage to refer repeatedly to the documents. You can give the court a narrative as to what the deed says when the property last changed hands, and just tell me how it is that you arrived at 2527 Thompson as his address without, I'll just take your narrative today. That's fine. You're an officer of the court.
Certainly, Your Honor.
Thanks.
And for one thing, we looked at the OPA records. The OPA records indicate Charles Williams' mailing address, and also that he's the owner of 1332 Hollywood. So we're although the sale date, indeed, as the court said, is 1962, our OPA records, of course, are more recent than that. And in fact, were examined on July 21st, 2022. So that's what's on file with OPA. And let me see if any of the other documents also mentioned his current address. I know that that a title search is done, and certainly if anything reflected on there would be used if it's reflected on that as well.
Have you already conducted the title search or engaged the title company?
The title search has been provided to the court as Exhibit C to our petition. So yes, Your Honor. I know there was some confusion with how this particular title company, the way they do the report, it's on first glance hard to tell that it is a title report, but it in fact is. Now, I'm not seeing in the title report the address in question, so I would have to say that it's really the OPA records upon which we rely, and I guess the fact that the process server seemed to interact, and I wish these process servers would write a little more detailed narrative, but it would seem from the affidavit that this person was accepting service on behalf of Charles Williams.
The reason I'm bringing it up is you're suggesting that Mr. Charles Williams, who purchased this property 60 years ago, is still alive.
Sure.
And that I only barely glanced at it, he purchased it along with his wife.
Yes, Your Honor. That's my recollection.
And the last time I had one of these, we had a fraudulent deed issue. So I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
May warrant some additional work on your part, including perhaps a vital records check, because I wouldn't want to see a lot of money and time expended on this case if in fact there may be an issue as to the identity and service on the respondent. And I don't mean to be overly cautious, but I think it warrants a little bit of attention.
That makes sense, Your Honor. I think it's good to be cautious.
Yeah, especially looking at this property and how long it's been in the state. It's quite apparently been in this boarded up state for some time.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll give a pretty short date so you can go ahead and continue the work of doing the research on the background, because I don't want to hold this up.
Right.
And so we're not ready to schedule an evidentiary hearing at this time. We'll do another status hearing, and we may even be able to squeeze this in at the very end of December. I'm not certain. Let's see what we have. Does that work for you and for your client?
I know my client will inevitably tell me that he wants the very earliest date and probably would want one sooner if it was available. However, obviously it's the court's calendar that controls and not my client. So I rely on Your Honor.
Let's see what we have. And Mr. Teshko can look at those late December dates. See if we have any of those left, Killian, or even anything before then in late November. I don't think we do, but you'll tell me.
I'm looking at, it looks like Thursday, December 29th is wide open. Is that day good on your calendar, Judge?
We could do that, or we could do, because if it's wide open, it may be wide open for a reason that I can't fathom, but We do have Wednesday, December 28th at 2:30 for a status hearing. If that would work for Mr. Ritterman and his client.
I believe it will, Your Honor. I have a case where they indicated that jury selection could begin the next day, but I assume, Your Honor, if for some reason, especially because we're back in live hearings, if for some reason I just step out of another room, Your Honor, would
Okay, I
communicate.
don't think that should be an issue. And again, I'm simply being cautious.
Sure. And if it pleases the court, just so I know, I will be doing a vital records check. Any suggestions the court has on specific actions you'd like me to take, I'm happy to do all of them. So,
Well, I imagine, since I have a little bit of familiarity with CDCs, I imagine that Mr. Sherlock has probably already spoken to neighbors of the property to ascertain what they might be able to tell him about the last time the property was occupied, or if they have any knowledge of Mr. Williams. And this is apocryphal, but it's enormously helpful. Longstanding neighborhoods such as this one, frequently the neighbors are your best source of information, and it could shortcut your search. And it may well be, that Charles Williams is alive and well and living at that address, and is simply dodging service. But 60 years is a long time.
sure. But Your Honor, may I ask Mr. Sherlock if he happens to have any information at the present moment? I don't wish to put him on the spot, of course. If he doesn't, we'll be working together in the next couple of months. But if he happens to know anything at the moment, I'd certainly welcome it.
I don't have any present notes on communication with the neighbors.
Okay. So we'll continue that investigation with the neighbors, Your Honor, and get back to you.
And then what we can anticipate is if we're able to be quite comfortable about service, then at the next court date, we would go ahead and set an evidentiary date. But if in fact there has been a death, then of course you're going to be faced with the issue of raising an estate. And
Right.
Better to know that now than later.
Yeah, good point.
Anything else to come before the court?
I don't think so, Your Honor. Thank you.
I will just make note that, as you know, Mr. Ritterman, so this is really for the benefit of your client.
Yes.
The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has determined that we are no longer able to do or allowed to do hearings by remote access technology effective later this year. So the next hearing on Wednesday, the 28th, will be in courtroom 453 of City Hall.
Right. Thank you, Your Honor, for noting.
Okay.
Okay.
Gillian, could you please, if you could adjourn court for us.
Yes, Your Honor. That concludes today's proceeding. The court stands adjourned.
Thank you all very much. Have a good day.
Thank you too, Your Honor.